Ikaguchi did not have any identification on his person, and investigators had difficulty identifying him immediately, so that identification was positively made just this morning. On August 18th at approximately 4:58 p.m., our dispatch center received multiple calls indicating the owner of the Magpie clothing store had been shot. Callers described the suspect as a white male wearing a reddish shirt and carrying a backpack, and had left the area running toward the marina. One of the callers said the suspect cut down a pride flag while he argued with Laura just before he shot her. At approximately 5:13 p.m., Twin Peaks station deputies arrived on scene at Magpies while other units continued to look for the suspect. Carlton succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced deceased at the scene by emergency medical services. A witness followed the suspect and led deputies to the area where the suspect was last seen. At approximately 5:14 p.m., 2 deputies and a sergeant located the suspect, matching the description of the shooter, walking east on Torrey Road, just east of the 173. The suspect opened fire on the deputies, striking several patrol units. A lethal force encounter ensued, and Ikaguchi was pronounced deceased at the scene. This case will be submitted to the county district attorney's office due to the fact that there was a lethal force encounter. And a few other points of information for you. The day before the incident, Ikaguchi's family reported him missing to the Twin Peaks Sheriff's Station. Mr. Ikaguchi was positively identified by his next of kin as the suspect in this case. He was positively identified on Saturday, August 19th, 2023 at 7:49 p.m. Based on preliminary records available to us, the firearm is believed to be unregistered. It's a Smith & Wesson Model 6906 9mm semi-automatic handgun. And investigators are currently working with other law enforcement to determine additional information related to the firearm. Ikaguchi used multiple social media platforms, including Twitter, X, and Gab. The content of Ikaguchi's social media posts contained posts critical to the LGBTQIA community. Ikaguchi also reposted videos associated with anti-law enforcement content. Based on preliminary searches available to us, we believe Ikaguchi has no firearms registered to him in the state of California. And based on the investigation thus far, we believe Ikaguchi has not applied for a CCW permit in California.
Are there any questions that any of you have?
Chief, the social media account that was mentioned appears to have a burning pride flag as its pinned tweet. Is that the shooter that you're...
Yes, that's the same social media post from the suspect that we're aware of.
Was this person on your radar at all, anyone's radar before this happened?
Not until this incident happened and as part of the course of the investigation.
How many, several calls were received from the store itself? How many other people were present when this happened?
There were witnesses in the area. I don't know the exact number, but those witnesses are what led the deputies to locate the suspect, which I'm being told is about a mile away from where the homicide occurred.
Any previous threats to the business or Lowry?
No.
Online or...
None that we're aware of. That's why this investigation is important. Number one, anytime there's an officer mentioned by this suspect.
Social media can be a bit of a cesspool of hate speech. Was there anything in hindsight that should have been flagged or noted? Or was this just what you saw, typical of what is seen on social media, and should not necessarily be as a deterrent to violence in the future?
Unfortunately, exactly the way you described it is what happens. You know, people have the right to post things, even though as individuals, and certainly government, we disagree with their viewpoint. However, when that occurs, they do have a right to do some of those things. If there is something that related to that and did raise to the level that it was on our radar, and I just don't know the number.
Sorry, the shooter is one of 9 children, but the victim, you don't know how many children the victim has?
No, I'm not aware of that number. I know they have family members that are here in the area since we've been conducting the investigation. Yeah, the victim. But it's my understanding that the suspect may be one of 9 children.
Okay, so we had originally been given store owner had 9 children. That, you don't know if that's correct or not?
I'm not familiar with how many children they have. I do know family members are present, and we're in direct contact with all the family members to make sure that they know where the investigation's at and any of the reasoning and things that we can share with major impact on the community and people that she's come across with during her lifetime.
So if the information we had on the children might not be correct, do you know if she was a member of the LGBTQ plus community, or was she just a supporter and was killed because of that?
I'm not sure I have that information, but it is my understanding that based on that flag, that she is a supporter and the confrontation that occurred that caused this incident.
Simply over the flag?
It appears to be just over the flag and the cutting down of that flag and the confrontation that occurred when she confronted the suspect. If there are no more questions, I want to thank all of you for covering this. In San Bernardino County, we don't tolerate things like this, and it's an unfortunate end when we have to be involved in an officer-involved shooting. But if there's any other information that does come out that relates to this not being a single actor, I will make sure that we give the media that information so that everyone can be well informed about what's going on as it relates to any type of hate crime that occurs in our area.
Sheriff, it was an unregistered gun. Can you talk about the legality of that firearm situation?
Yeah, particularly in handguns, you're supposed to have them registered